tastes really nice. Right, so this is my second take on number 3, because I didn't want to kind of I didn't want to do this one and then have things that I missed out on, because this is really important. I mean, this isn't something small here. This subject isn't small. This is actually something really big, because it's been talked about for a long time now. And when I did this video about half an hour ago, there was a few things I missed out on, and I shouldn't have missed out on it. But just to clarify, the last number 2, where I started in number 2. So what did I talk about? Right, so I talked about leadership, right? I talked about the scenario of I'm sitting down with a woman, I'm earning 30 grand, she's earning 70 grand. We choose, because we don't, you know, again, there are some parents out there where they're both working, so we could both be working. But I did come across a woman at the time that said, yeah, but if I'm earning 70 grand, you're earning 30 grand, then you need to step it up and all of that. And I said, look, it's not a competition. You're doing what works. You're strictly doing what works. It's not a competition thing here. And I said, but I do not mind sharing responsibility with you. So if I feel, for example, like you're an accountant, then I don't mind at the end of the month giving you all my money, and then you know, allocate the money as best you see fit, you know, because we're working as a team. I don't mind that. Okay. And what's another thing I was going to say? Right, yeah, so I don't mind that. However, getting back to that same scenario with the father staying at home to work, just in case some people jump to a conclusion and say, what, you some sort of housewife or whatever, I personally wouldn't have seen it that way anyway. I would never have seen it as a housewife. I think if she was maybe better suited to earning the 70 grand and I was better suited to being at home, a stay-at-home father and looking after the child, that would have been fine with me. But it's the influences of her friends at work, friends and most likely family, that are on that blue pill that say, right, men have to do this, women have to do that, basically telling you how to run your own life, that causes things to be slightly awkward. And then what happens is she goes to work and her friends, or sometimes they ain't even the friends, it's acquaintances at work, say, oh, so how's the baby, you know, how's it going? And she says, oh yeah, he's doing fine, my husband's at home. Your husband's what, at home? Does he work? Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't? And all of a sudden now they start feeding things, and she's not strong enough. This black woman isn't strong enough to actually fight the system. And I don't blame her, because like I said in one of my videos, Mixed Race One Face, is that if you're outnumbered, the best way to break someone is to isolate them from their group. So you're taking them away from the black man, a black partner. You're taking them someplace else. You're bombarding them for, say, something like 9 hours. And then she's coming home. She's only spending 2 hours before she has to get ready and prepare for the next day. So she's having limited time with her man and more time with the friends. And the friends are feeding her all kinds of nonsense. Or may even be family members or friends outside of work. And before you know it, she's coming home from work and she's playing this kind of, you know, it becomes this kind of looking down at her own man kind of thing. Yet he may be doing a very good job with the child, a job that she wouldn't be able to do herself. That's the whole reason why they came to this arrangement, you know. Maybe because he was a better parent at home than what she is. But it could be a possibility where they're both working. They're both working. He's earning 30 grand, she's earning 70. I've come across certain women that said, right, he then has to step up and earn more than 70 grand. What I'm trying to say to you is that the way the system is set up, based upon the previous video, is that the doors he may not have the same amount of doors open as you do. To clarify the whole men have to work 3 times harder than women thing, I think that as men, as we all know anyway, a lot of the decisions fall on our shoulders. And I think here in the UK, I've met a lot of women that are, what's the word that we'd use? Privileged, self-entitled. And because of those things, men are having to kind of, they don't really have a choice in the matter. Because of those things, men are having to do +2, in a sense, you know. They have to not only take a woman to the restaurant, pull out the seats, pay for the meal, make sure she gets back home safe. There's a lot, there's more, there's always men are always having to do a little bit more. But also, we also have to do more in regards to thinking straight as well. because we can't leave that in the hands of a Western woman. That's how I look at it anyway. We can't leave it in her hands because she is pretty much a part of the whole matrix system, which is causing this big division between black men and black women in the first place. Here's an important thing I want to get to before we move on to what black British women should be looking for if they choose to be with their own black British men, which they should. It's not a race thing. It's not a race thing. It's actually the complete opposite. Because people are saying, oh look, you know, this might be sounding a bit racist and all of that. Well, it's not sounding racist. If black women out there are choosing black British men last, then how? And I have a problem with that. How would that be classed as racist? So it's not a racist thing. But anyway, one thing I want to get to before we get into the whole what they should be looking for, and that's that it's important that black British women understand, and it's really important, is that if a large majority of black men don't have black British fathers in the picture, then who's raising these black boys? Who's raising them? Now, I did say in one of my previous videos that, yeah, to a certain degree, you can only do the best you can inside of your home, and then it's what they see on TV, and it's what the school system teaches them, and it's what they, you know, the influences of their peers and all that kind of stuff. I did say that, and that can heavily influence a child. They can. But ultimately and inevitably, it boils down to the parent, right? So you're saying that these black British men are apparently weak and all of these kind of things, right? And let's not be kind of harsh when we say these things. You know, let's just be honest. These are the kind of traits you see in them. But then who's taught them these traits then? And who's taught them these traits? Because a lot of the fathers aren't there. So who's taught them these traits? Black women, black British women. Okay, it becomes a double-edged sword. Because you're saying you're not interested in black British men, but it's black British women that are raising them. Where's the logic in it? What are we going to do about it? Oh yeah, but it must be down to the black British men. Look. Oh, 1 minute. We know that's not true. Okay? We've already established in many of the previous videos, the MGTOW videos and everything else, that a lot of these black women are making the wrong choices. By your own admission, you're not even going for black British men. You're not even going for them. So they must be foreign men, right? They must be foreign men. They must be foreign men, because you just said yourself you're not going for them. So they must be foreign men. Okay? And it's obviously not working. Whatever attempt you're trying isn't working. These foreign, if they are black men, isn't working. Okay? So what type of men should you be going for? Right. You want to go for a man, really, and this is what I'm trying to say to you, be careful of the hand that feeds you, you know? You'd really do want a man that's trying to work with you. There's no point in me kind of walking around the house and I'm ordering you around the house, woman, get my food and all that kind of stuff. If, just like I mentioned in my taking people for granted video, if I'm a bum, if I don't do anything, how can I be manhandling you and telling you what to do around the house? Babe, you can't be wearing that, yeah. And then at the same time, I'm not doing anything. I'm not earning any money. So it's all good having this kind of bona fide man that kind of, he's tough and this and that, and he's a Dan Gagan and whatever you want to call it, and he's got this little swagger and he's got this accent and all that kind of stuff, but he's not doing anything. So you really want a man that's trying to work with you. That's what you want. And this whole alpha male and you want a man that slap you on the ass hard and all that kind of stuff, push that all out the window. What you really want is a man that's going to work alongside you. Yeah, but I don't want to have to make the decisions, and he has to do this, and he has to read my mind and know, and push all of that out the window, because it's obviously not working. This is 2020, yeah. It's not going too well for us in this country, the United Kingdom, as black British people. Okay, so it's not working. Okay, push the whole man has to read your mind, has to be this way, has to be that way, has to be tough like Americans or whatever country, or Africans or um, whatever foreign country, and say, right, they need to be able to sit down and work with you. Okay, and you have to be able to um, to equally realize that you equally share a responsibility in everything as well. You equally share responsibility. Um, what else would I say? What other traits would I look for? He has to be wanting to work. You know, it goes without saying. I agree with you. He has to be wanting to work, and he has to find a job. He has to find a job. I agree with that. You know, although I would definitely disagree on the whole thing. On the whole, he has to be earning more than you, and I've made my point clear about as to why. What else? It's good if he's reliable. I think that's a very important factor. One thing I can always say in my life is I've always been reliable. If you ring me and I said I'm going to be there at 2 o'clock, I'm there at 2 o'clock, prompt on time. He has to be respectful. Okay, he has to respect you, because if he don't respect you, there's no point. There's no point in you being with him. Okay, and I would never be with a woman that didn't respect me. Plain and simple. What's another thing I was going to say? He has to treat his mother well, because you get these certain men, and can you blame them? Can you really blame them? They're pissed off at their own mothers, okay? And if they got that mentality, then they're most likely not going to treat you the best way as well. So they have to forgive their mother, move on past it, and you know, they have to respect their mothers as well, you know, because if a man don't respect his mother, he's not really going to respect you. You know, you can tell. What else would I look for? Forget about the whole accent, strong accent, foreign accent, and all that kind of stuff. Don't judge people on their accent. Don't judge them on this whole materialistic thing as well, that they have to wear Nike trainers, it has to be Clarkies, because you've heard it in some sort of reggae song. Now he has to wear Clarkies and all of that. Push all of that materialistic thing out the way. This is why I did my previous video on do not take your Lord God for the test. Yeah, push all the materialistic thing out the way. You wearing Clarkies isn't gonna raise your child with values. Isn't gonna mean that your child, you wearing a pair of Clarkies isn't gonna give your kid values, principles. Isn't gonna make him tough. Isn't gonna make him stand up for himself at school when he's being bullied. Okay. So forget the whole materialistic thing. What else would I say is British? What you'd look for in a British black man? Consistency, like I said, that can kind of tie into reliability. Consistency, he's consistent. One thing I've said to most women that I've known is do not give it up straight away. You know, do not try to make him hold out for it as long as he can. Okay, because it is hard to know. For men, we know, we can look at other men and say, this man's a cheater, man. This man's going to cheat on you all day. We can see it. We can even smell it. Okay, women can't. I've been in rooms with women where I think I said, did I say it in my previous video about the inability to judge men, or some women know that men are going to cheat on them. Whichever way, women just don't have a clue in regards to who looks bona fide and who's real. Where other guys can sit back and say, you can tell with this guy. You know, I wouldn't say about him opening his mouth, because that's a bit biased. People obviously at least have to talk for you to figure them out. But it doesn't take too long for you to figure out whether they're cheaters or not. It wouldn't take me too long to sit down with a guy that my sister, I would say my sister was dating, but maybe she arranged for me to see this guy outside in the street without him knowing that he was dating my sister. It wouldn't take me too long for me to speak to him normally and figure out what we was on. And some people say, yeah, but it looks obvious and all of that. No, without me kind of entrapment, without me entrapping him, bringing up a conversation of women and seeing where he's going from it. Just me talking to him normally and just know like what this guy is on, you know. So you know, try to hold that as long as you can before giving it away. Another thing I would say to look out for. What else? We pretty much covered a lot of bases. Should he be able to cook? Yes, to a certain basic ability. He doesn't have to be able to cook big dishes from back home, from Africa or Jamaica or whatever country he's from, but he should be able to kind of, you know, cook standard food. He should be able to, and if he isn't, then he should be willing to learn. It's as simple as that. You shouldn't be ignorant and say, well, woman, you do all of this kind of stuff, because that's going back into stereotypes. And that's what I was trying to say. We should be trying our hardest to avoid those stereotypes, because those stereotypes may have worked about 80 years ago, specifically for Caucasian people, and maybe for us black people back in our home countries. But in this country, we kind of have to adapt, and we have to do what works. We have to, you know, we have to do what kind of works for us, because us trying to follow other people's systems of things hasn't been working. You know what I mean? We have to try slightly something different now. It's almost like black children being raised in school. Whatever system set up right now isn't working. So whatever system can we use to try to kind of, not just one or two kids that do well academically, but, you know, thousands of them. How do we kind of turn it around so that a large majority of black children are doing well in school? But yeah, I think that, guys, that is pretty much it. There's some good traits to look out for. If you want, you know, some women complain about height and this and that. I don't know about all of that. I'm just talking about black British men. Okay, if there are some decent black British men out there, feel free to, you know, like I said, leave a comment in the comment section to let women know that you are out there and you are faithful, and, you know, you are trying hard or striving hard or are working, whatever. And that was pretty much it. That's pretty much it. And another thing I'll say to women is, be careful when you're judging, guys, because I've come across a few women that they're very quick to judge guys. You know, say, oh, you live at home with your mum and this and that, but they may be living at home with their mum. So they're very quick to say, oh yeah, but you're in a council place or whatever. But you're in a council place. You know, I know the Western world's got you believing that you're something special or whatever, and, you know, you feel a bit self-entitled or whatever, but you need to grow a certain level of empathy. Because like I said already, when you're talking about black British men that's calm or whatever, or beneath you or whatever, you're the one that's raising them, you know, so take that into account. But I hope I've given you some good tips on what to look out for. Self-reflection, look at yourself as well, women. You know, there's no point in women walking around for 20 years complaining about there's no decent black man if you don't know what a decent black man is. That's what I'm trying to say. And you're walking past them in the street and you're going for these kind of vanity, hip-hop, reggae artist type looking guys. You're caught up in the whole matrix system. You know, there's no point. Be real with yourself first. Anyway, thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you around. Peace.